Hi, this is Matt Clark, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to get massive amounts of purchases in a short period of time by priming the pump. So as a short review, you should have already watched the first video on purchases in the promotion section. That's very important to watch before this, so if you haven't already, go ahead and stop this and watch that one first. So to review, the number one ranking factor on Amazon is purchases, because it's a basic shopping cart. It's a huge crazy business, huge website, that sort of thing. But when it at its core, it's a shopping cart. It's an e-commerce store. And one core feature of e-commerce stores is that it sorts products by best sellers. They do this because they realize that if a product is already getting bought a whole bunch, and they want to maximize their revenue and profits, then something about that product people like, so they're going to try to promote that product to more people so more people buy it. That'll increase their revenue and profits, so they feature best-selling products or products that have been purchased a whole bunch. And velocity matters. If you can get a whole bunch of purchases in a short period of time, that's going to be better and more valuable than doing it over an extended period of time, because part of your ranking factor is how many purchases have occurred in the past, in the recent time period. So if you can get purchases to happen quickly and in a short period of time, that's going to dramatically increase your rankings and your purchases. And then the need consistency to maintain rankings. This means that you can get a whole bunch of purchases in a short period of time, and you may get a short burst. But if you're able to do that over an extended period of time, it doesn't have to be quite as much as at the beginning, but if you're able to maintain additional purchases, then you're going to maintain rankings for a lot longer. So remember, rankings are sticky. So this means that if you are able to get a whole bunch of purchases, your rankings rise up. The good thing about that is that once that happens, Amazon will sort of start taking care of the work for you. This means that if you've boosted your rankings up and it's ranking well for a certain category or keyword, then people are going to continually be looking at those categories and keywords. The millions and millions of people who visit Amazon are going to be looking at those categories and keywords and finding your product and buying it just because it's at the top. So this is why I say when products rise to the top, they tend to stay at the top, because those rankings are sticky, because they're automatically getting more purchases, reviews, and that sort of thing. The kind of thing that gets you to the top in the first place is automatically happening just because you're a higher ranked product. So strategy number one for promoting your product and priming the pump: temporary lowball. So basically what this is you temporarily reducing the price you're selling your product for, and sometimes even at a loss. The reason you do this is because we want to prime the pump to get more purchases in a short period of time to get you to rise up to one of those top rankings, and then once you're at the top rankings, you can basically increase your price again. And then because you've already done all those purchases and you've done different promotion to get your product to the top in the first place, then you've achieved one of those top rankings, and then the top ranking itself, even if you increase your price, will start resulting in more purchases, more reviews, and that sort of thing, and which leads us back to that the top rankings are sticky. So if you're able to reduce price in a short period of time, for a few days, few weeks, whatever it takes, then basically increase that price again once you've risen up in rankings because of that low price, that's sort of a sneaky strategy that can get you rising in rankings and additional purchases. So to show you this, I'm going to show you a quick example from Amazon.com. So here we are at Amazon.com. All I've done here is searched for metal detector. You can see this up here. I searched for metal detector, and here's what comes up. As you can see, we've got a bunch of different metal detectors, and what I want to show you is the sort of price differences. You can see this one's 95 bucks. It has 144 reviews, which is going to, we're going to cover reviews in a later video, but this is greatly contributing to this product's higher rankings. But as you can see, this one's 95 bucks, 44 bucks, 59 bucks, 169 bucks. These are headphones, don't really apply. So 169 bucks, 152 bucks, 102 bucks, 216 bucks. What I'm showing you here is the general trend. This first product has a whole bunch of reviews. As you can see, it's really trumping this 87 versus 144. So that's leading it to its higher ranking. But other than that, the general trend is that as we go down, the lower ranking products are getting more and more expensive. The reason for this is Amazon has basically built its business on being a low-cost provider of products. And within its own buy box, which we've covered in another video, it rewards people who offer lower prices. So this is why I wanted to show you this, because basically if you're able to reduce your price to a lower price, that alone will cause you to rise up in rankings. Because say for example, if you were number 7 here, for example, and you've created a bundle, even if you're selling this exact same product, you've created a bundle listing and you basically now have your own unique listing and you've done a little bit of promotion to get it ranked up into this first page, and then basically you have the same exact product and you pair it with some batteries, for example. Then all of a sudden, you're down here, but if someone's just sort of browsing for this thing and they know what they're looking for, especially for this specific model, and this one's 95 bucks and yours is at 70 bucks, then even if you're selling that at a small loss or not making any money, then you can basically capture a whole bunch more purchases and your ranking will start rising up here. And then basically once you capture this top position, as you can see, this one's got 144 reviews, 87 reviews, so this top ranking starts getting more and more purchases, which contributes to you staying here, and it starts getting more and more reviews, which makes it harder and harder for everyone else to compete with you. And you can increase your price once you're back up here to a price that makes you a comfortable profit margin. So this is just one example of how increasing price can be a good, or how temporarily dropping price can be a good promotional strategy for you. So now we're back at the presentation, and you can see that the strategy number 2 I have here, which we're not going to go into in here because it's in all the other videos in this section, is that there are other Amazon promotion methods. Those can be used to help prime the pump for massive purchases in a short period of time, which I'll teach you how to do all those things in the subsequent videos. But just as a quick little list here, Amazon linking, likes, tags, and even having a really good image can cause you to dramatically increase purchases in a short period of time, which can cause you to rise up, even if you temporarily put an image on there that you don't necessarily want, one that's just real loud, maybe slightly against Amazon's policies, but if you put it there for a short period of time and it sort of primes the pumps and gets you risen up in rankings, and you are ranking higher than other products, and you start getting more purchases, more reviews, then you can change the image back to whatever you want. So that's just one example of how you can use this. And just the main thing to keep in mind is that you're trying to get a large number of purchases in a short period of time to basically capture one of those top rankings. After that, you can do basically whatever you want. Increase price a little bit, change the image, do whatever you want basically, because you will sort of capture one of the top rankings on Amazon. And like I've said multiple times, that those top rankings are sticky. So what I wanted to sort of explain here real quick and give you an example that a lot of people use is the book selling concept. Nobody really sells their own books anymore. If an author has a website, they're likely going to link to their Amazon listing. Now the reason they do this is because they are priming the pump, even if they don't realize it. They realize that if they're able to get more and more purchases on Amazon, then that benefit, because of the compounding, if you get more purchases, more reviews, and that sort of activity going on Amazon, you're going to get a higher ranking, more purchases, more reviews on Amazon. And there's millions and millions of people shopping on Amazon that are not shopping on your website. And so the compounding effect and priming the pump of getting a higher ranking on Amazon, especially in a short period of time, and being able to stay there and continually get those sales without having to do any work yourself, is going to be better than the higher margin you would get from selling it on your website. Because Amazon doesn't do this for free. You do have to pay them a percentage of your sales, but doing so allows you to capture basically a ton more sales on Amazon than you would get on your website. So yeah, you may not make as much money on those few book sales you would get from selling it directly on your website, but those same few book sales could get you higher rankings on Amazon, which could basically lead to a ton more sales overall. Strategy number 3, multiple accounts acting on your behalf. We've covered this a little bit before in a previous video, but multiple accounts can be customers, they can be vendors, they can be colleagues, friends, or accounts you create. So we're going to go into a little bit of detail on this one because this is a huge one and arguably the most important strategy here. So first of all, multiple accounts. Where do they come from? First off, friends, family, colleagues, pretty much everyone you know is going to have an Amazon account. For them to be able to write a review or that sort of thing of your product, they need to have purchased at least once. But you know, if you have friends and family, especially people that can use a product that you're selling on Amazon, by all means, give them a link and get them to purchase on your Amazon product listing, because that's going to help you rise up in rankings. So using sort of the power of the crowd, anybody you can get to act on your behalf and use their Amazon account to buy your product and promote your products is going to benefit you dramatically. So you should start thinking about that right now. Who do you know that could, you know, be willing to help you? It could be your dad, your mom, your wife, your husband. It could be anybody out there that basically has an Amazon account and can help you out. Second is to create your own army of Amazon buyers. Now, what does an army of Amazon buyers look like? This is basically what it looks like. These are Amazon.com gift cards, $10 each, 3 of them a piece for a $30 pack. And these can basically be used to create other accounts. And you're basically going to, you know, just need an email, and, you know, I'll show you a few different other things, but basically an email, and that's it. And you can basically go out there and buy your own product, or have other people run these accounts and basically buy your own product. And, you know, you're not going to ship it out because it's your own. There's nobody actually buying the thing. But you can basically create other accounts, buy your own product, and you know, mark those orders as shipped within your Amazon account, and then you sort of increase purchases of your product. And especially if you're selling in a low competition category or keyword, then you will rise up in rankings pretty fast doing this, and it doesn't require anybody else to do anything for you. You can basically control the whole process. Now, something to keep in mind when creating buyer accounts, here are a few tips. As you saw in the picture, I recommend using Amazon gift cards. This, you can't really, I wouldn't recommend using, you know, especially a personal or business credit card that you've already used, especially one that's associated with your Amazon Seller Central account. I mean, we've done this and they don't seem to really care. Amazon gets a percentage of the sales, so they make money when you're doing this sort of promotional strategy. And you know, there is a cost associated with it, because if you buy something for $10 and you're selling a product that has a 15% you know, Amazon fee, then you just paid $1.50 to Amazon, because you're not going to refund the order because you want that order to stick. So each purchase you make, if it's a $10 product, you're giving Amazon basically $1.50. It's pretty much a marketing cost. Oh, and one tip to use that to sort of reduce that cost is to basically use that low ball traffic strategy and basically drop the price of your product when you're going to do all the purchases, because then that's a lower percentage you have to pay Amazon per purchase. Another tip is to use a different internet connection, basically to get a different IP address. Once again, Amazon doesn't seem to really care. We've done this sort of thing in the past, and you know, been fairly sloppy with it, and it doesn't seem to matter that much. But you know, to make things look as natural as possible, you want to you know, try to use a different internet connection. You can even do it on your phone, and you can use a, you know, USB modem. You can go do this at the library, at a Starbucks, whatever you want, just to get a different IP address from a friend's house. It doesn't really matter, because you're creating buyer accounts. Now, do not do this. Do not use any of these strategies if you're trying to create another seller account. That's covered in a different module, and none of this applies to that. You have to be extremely careful doing that stuff. But with buyer accounts, Amazon likes buyers. You're giving them basically free money, so you know, they like it, but it can definitely benefit you and lead to huge amounts of purchases and sales for you. Another tip, use a different computer. This is, you know, because Amazon's going to be putting cookies on your computer, and especially if you've installed Kindle for PC, now they basically have access to a lot of other information from your computer. So if possible, use a different computer. I mean, you can go use a public computer, you can use a friend's computer, you can even buy laptops these days for, you know, $80 used. Do whatever it takes, but ideally use a different computer. I recommend downloading and using a little software called CCleaner. It's basically something that just cleans out all your cookies and that kind of thing, and just helps you sort of make sure none of that stuff is floating around if you're creating multiple buyer accounts. I especially recommend doing this if you're switching between your seller account and a buyer account, just to sort of keep everything as clean as possible. Amazon's a, you know, smart company with billions of dollars, and you know, they are not dumb. I mean, they can track this kind of stuff, even if you're cleaning your cookies, just based off of the information contained in whatever buyer accounts and IP address and that kind of thing. But still, I recommend doing this just to keep things as clean as possible. I also recommend keeping a spreadsheet of logins and purchases made. So this way you know what accounts have actually made purchases. You know the email address, because basically all you need to set up an account and email address. You don't even have to put in a phone number or anything like that. It's optional right now, and you can basically keep a spreadsheet of the email address, the Amazon password, and the email password, just so you can use these accounts in the future, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel each time. And then, because the goal here is to create basically an army of Amazon different accounts if you want to go this route for promoting your products. You want to make it look natural as natural as possible. That's the most important thing here. And lastly, outsource it. You can use outsourcers on sites like elance.com and odesk.com. You can get them for $3 an hour, that sort of thing. And you can basically have them doing all of this for you. You basically can give them Amazon gift card code, and they can go create an email account and an Amazon account and actually buy your product, and then just have them send back to you the email address and Amazon password and email password, just so that you can have that in your spreadsheet for future use. The most important thing here is to make it look natural. Like I said, Amazon doesn't seem to crack down on this stuff too much, unlike Google, who cracks down on all kinds of sort of shady manipulation. But basically, you want to make it look as natural as possible. You can try writing reviews of other products, just random products you've actually reviewed or purchased or that kind of thing. Just do the same thing with these other accounts, because it looks like they're active Amazon accounts that are just writing reviews of other products and that kind of thing, just like a normal Amazon account would. You can even try purchasing other cheap products along with your product, just so it doesn't look like you all of a sudden have these 40 accounts who the only thing that they bought is your product, which looks a little suspicious if Amazon ever does crack down on this. You want to make it look as natural as possible. So the last thing on this list of getting multiple accounts acting on your behalf is to drive outside traffic. So you can basically have promote your products on your website through SEO, which we'll cover in a later video. If you have any sort of JV partners with big email lists, and you can give them some sort of value for basically promoting your product, especially if it's a Kindle book and you've enrolled it in KDP Select, which basically can offer your book for free, then it's not really any cost to them. If you get somebody else to mail for you and you give them some sort of piece of value or that sort of thing, and say, hey, this book's over here for free, this is a really cool guy, his book is offered for free right now on Amazon, just go ahead and go over there and purchase it. You don't even have to have a Kindle device. You can use Kindle for PC or do it on your phone. So getting them to basically go over and purchase your product from Amazon, whether it's a book or a physical product, if you can do that too, that can be extremely valuable. You can do email drops. You can go out there to sites like lists.nextmark.com. They can, you can basically buy an email sent out in somebody else's list, and if you can turn that into a profitable or break-even marketing venture, then those additional purchases you get on Amazon from getting higher rankings, from getting more purchases from that purchase traffic, can lead to even more better rankings and higher purchases and more reviews and that sort of thing, as we've talked about here. So remember the compounding effect when you're thinking about doing these things. It's not just the initial transaction, especially if you're buying any sort of traffic to send over there. It's the sort of rise up in rankings and then basically owning a category or owning a keyword on Amazon. You can also use videos, YouTube and that sort of thing. They rank pretty well on Google, especially if you drive links to them. So if you create a YouTube video about your product, preferably just adding some information, giving people some quick tips, and then talking about your book on Amazon or your product on Amazon, basically, and then adding a link to that Amazon listing. That can be a pretty good strategy for getting traffic. You can use Facebook and Twitter, especially if you already have a following on Twitter, or if you have a bunch of fans on Facebook, or even your friends on Facebook. Get them to basically go over there and purchase your product and write reviews and that sort of thing, and that can basically be a good source of getting multiple accounts acting on your behalf. So one thing I want you to note here is the big idea. Is this sort of the death of the small online store? Now, what I'm saying here is that if by getting more people to purchase your product on Amazon, that leads to higher rankings and more purchases on Amazon, and Amazon is the biggest e-commerce store in the world, does that mean it's even worth selling products on your store anymore? Your online store? Because if somebody buys something on your online store, it's bought it on your online store, and it doesn't matter if it leads to bestseller rankings in your own online store because you still have to fight tooth and nail to get the rest of the traffic to your store. So one thing to think about is that it may be moving towards, and a lot of people are, they're running purely Amazon businesses because they realize that if they drive and focus all of their traffic on Amazon and getting people to purchase their products on Amazon, then they can basically own a category or own a keyword on Amazon. And there's a lot of value in becoming a market leader on Amazon, especially if you have a book. You get that sort of credibility and market leadership and authority. If you have a physical product, that's a way to basically build a brand. If you have for example, a cleaning product you want to sell, if you created basically the number one for whatever keyword you're looking for, cleaning product on Amazon, you're able to leverage that. People will automatically think you're a big brand. So at that point, who's to say you're not a big brand like the ones that are, in Walmart? If you're number one on Amazon, then people must know who you are. So that's one thing to think about, is that, you may not need an online store anymore. Amazon may be basically all you need. So that's one thing to think about, is that you might consider driving every single bit of the traffic you have to Amazon to sort of focus on compounding and the priming the pump.